ओम श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकर दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैर्रणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारत पंकजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसि न श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः Yeah, Sajeev. Let's chant from verse number 11. Shri Bhagavanuvach
Shri Bhagavanuvach
Ashocyananvashocastvam
Ashocyananvashocastvam
Prajnavadamscha bhashase
Prajnavadamscha bhashase
Gatasuna
Gatasunagatasumcha
Nanushocanti panditaha
Nanushochandi panditaha
Natve vaham jatunasam
Natve vaham jatunasam
Natvam neme janadhipaha
Natvam neme janatipaha
Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha
Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha
Sarve vayamatah param
Sarve vayamadah param
Dehinosmin yatha dehe
Dehinosmin yada dehe
Kaumaram yauvanam jara
Kaumaram yauvanam jara
Tatha dehantara praptihi
Tadha dehandara praptihi
Dhirastatra na muhyati
Dhirastatra na muhyati
Matra sparshastu kaunteya
Matra sparshastu kaundeya
Shitoshna sukha dukkadaha
Shitoshna sukha dukkadaha
Agama payino nityaha
Agamapayino nityaha
Tam stitikshasva bharata
Tam stitikshasva bharata.
Yeah. So go ahead and stay unmuted. Let me unmute a couple of more people. Balaji and Srividya. I'm unmuting yourself also, just so I can get some feedback. So we have started hearing Sri Krishna's teachings, where in this 11th shloka, Krishna straight away started giving the Upadesha. It's called Upadesha. Upadesha means the teaching, special word that is used for the subject, for the teaching of an important subject matter of the Shastra. That's called Upadesha. So Upadesha is beginning, where here he says there is no legitimate reason for sorrow. He's making a statement. He's not proving anything there. He's making a bold statement, which it is Krishna's job to explain. And he says these wise people who understand the nature of Atma, they really do not grieve over anything, really speaking. That is what he said in the 11th shloka. Then, with so many people dying, how can that death cannot cause grief if that doubt is there in Krishna's mind? He addresses that in the 12th shloka by saying that none of us really will disappear We were there even before we were born. Very strange statement. Before you were born, you were there. What is the meaning of that statement? So it's a very funny statement. In Vedanta, you get all these funny statements, right? So before you were born, you were there. So then we have to ask, what is born? What do you mean by you? All these questions arise. So here he makes it clear. So I was there before, I will be there later. You were there before, you will be there later. Anybody you pick among anybody in this world, they were there before, they will be there later also. Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha. It is never going to be the case that anybody will cease to exist entirely. Not possible. Already in physics we know law of conservation of mass and energy is already there. So already we know that mass cannot be destroyed, but it can change form. Mass can become energy. One type of mass can become another type of mass. Solid can become liquid, can become gas. All these transformations are possible, but not one atom can be lost. So there is matter, there is energy, all these things we've, in science we have read all this, studied all this. So when the issue of matter is granted, then you might say, no, Jaykumarji, that is fine. I know law of conservation of mass, but I don't want to die. I love this body. This body is disappearing. I cannot accept that fact. That is my problem. You don't tell me about conservation of mass and all that. I know all that. I know my body is not going to completely disappear. They say they will burn me after I die. So I will become ashes and all that they say. But I don't want to become ashes. That is my problem. That is my problem. You answered this question. This is the problem. So that problem is going to be addressed. Krishna is going to give an example here in the 13th shloka. So, Dehinosmin yatha dehe. So, I summarized the shloka briefly in the last class. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara. So, in this shloka, we have to note a couple of words. So, Yatha. Yatha is one word you must note. Those who are Sanskrit class students know this very well. And then second word to note is Tatha. Yatha Tatha. So just as. Yatha means just as. Tatha means so also. Likewise. Okay. So Yatha, just as. Asmin dehe. In this body, deha, we saw the meaning of deha last time, and deha means dahana yogyaha, that which is qualified to be burnt, and very, very stunning when you hear the meaning. And when I used to, they say I was very mischievous when I was a child, and everybody who knows me from childhood tells me that. And then my aunt used to shouted, our parents and all, they shouted children. And gali, gali dete hai na. So what, kaisa gali dete hai? How do they shout at children? So this is where culture comes. My aunt used to say, kattala poram, kattala poram. This is what they say in Tamil, kattala poram. So that means she's coming with a stick in it, but for the child it means run. Now is the time to run. That is the meaning. I will run away from you. This is the so kattala poram. So then later on, I had to come to Vedanta to understand what this phrase means. It means kattayil poravane. Kattayil poravane. Katta means wood. And you are going to go in a piece of wood. That is the meaning of the statement. After all, we are going to be burnt. This is the meaning of this curse. And you are thinking so much about yourself. You are also going to be burnt like the rest of us, my dear. That is the phrase here. And so suddenly I was reminded of that. So that deha. So even the curse has some Vedanta in it, something to learn from. And a child doesn't know all these things. And we don't even know if the parents knew it. I don't know. I don't want to say that they knew it. I will ask my father later on after this class. I will ask him what it means. Or my mother if they know it. So that deha is defined like that. But here he says, so clearly there is the reason deha is used, we must understand. Something that changes. Something that is always going to change. You cannot stop this change. Even Bhagavan Krishna cannot stop this change. And this Indrajit, the other day, he got a boon from somebody, from Brahma or something. And he says, you make me free from death. And Brahma says, how can I do that? I'll give you all kinds of powers. Like that they will say. You know, our gods are all very smart. They'll give all kinds of powers. And then finally, anyway, so this deha, asmin dehe, kaumaram yavvanam jara. There are this dehi means the one who is situated in the deha, the one for whom this body is meant for. This body is meant for me. I am not the body. This body is meant for me. That's a beauty. This thinking itself is sufficient for us to. It's a giant leap if we begin to understand this. I am the dehi which is using this deha, the body. So here there is a difference being made between the body and the indweller of the body. Indweller is a technical word which means one who lives in this body. Whoever that is, I can recognize that I am different from the body. So asmin dehe, in this body, this dehi seems to go through three phases: kaumaram, yavvanam, and jara. Childhood, youth, and old age. Jara is old age. I think you all know the connection between jara and geriatric. Jara, same root, jara. So some of us who are either old or who live with senior citizens, we are familiar with this phrase called geriatric. So then what? Just as this dehi has a body which is going through these stages, so also tatha dehantara praptihi bhavati. Tatha dehantara praptihi bhavati. You can add the word bhavati there. Full stop. So also this dehi will give up this body and take on another body. Okay? That's what is being said here. So, question number 1. Infant and then toddler. They have interesting names. You know, in America, I learned all these things. Infant, then toddler, then they have something else. Toddler. I forget the phrases and words now. And you know, teenager, like this, these words are there, right? Which define various stages of one's life. And teenager means, oh my God, teenager. So teenager means whether you must be happy or you must be sad, we don't know. Parents always say, oh, he's a teenager. So that means what happened? Why? What is wrong with a person being a teenager? Oh no, Jaykumarji, teenager. Just teenage is too much. We can't handle that. So childhood, and this toddler, and then teenager is there, and then youth, and then and then some adult and able-bodied adult, and then senior citizen. All this goes on. Now, is the Dehi the same in these bodies or not? Or is the child different from the teenager? That question, if we ask, the answer must be straightforward. All you have to do is listen to the grandfather talking to the grandson, having a conversation. Now, say 70 years, 80 years old, his voice also is shaky a little bit, and had a grandson or a great grandson also. And the great grandson is playing on the phone. Something is playing. And the great grandfather cannot handle these phones and all that. He's happy being his own. And he says, Vikram, those days we used to play not on these phones. We used to play marbles. We used to go outside and play marbles. And Vikram says, Grandpa, what is marble? What is marble? Goli, you don't understand goli? No, I don't know goli also. What is marble? What is goli? I don't understand. So, this great grandpa knows very well that young boy 60 years ago who played marbles is the same person who now has a great grandson. Same person. No denial at all there. And we all have resumes to prove that we are the same person. All the accomplishments are listed in this curriculum vitae, as they call it sometimes. And from high school onwards, the person says, I graduated first in class. In America, they have some phrases. They say, summa cum laude, and then magna cum laude, and then cum laude. Like this, there are some interesting phrases. Distinction, great distinction, greatest distinction. Like that, there are some wonderful phrases. And I was summa cum laude. And then college, I was the topper. College, I was the captain of the cricket team. Like this, it goes on and on until he became the CEO of Google. And so his resume is pretty impressive. And you ask him, wait a minute, that person who graduated summa cum laude and this CEO, same person? Yeah, it's the same person. But you have a beard now. Those days, there was no beard, nothing. You're all different bodies. How you can say same person? Come on, Jackmaji. Please don't joke with me like this. The same person, body keeps changing, but the person doesn't change. See how enlightened they are when they talk about accomplishments. But then you ask the fellow, what is your age? Oh, I am 55 years old. But I thought you said only body ages, but you don't age. You are the same person. How you can be 55 years old? Oh, no, don't ask me these questions. It's very confusing. So look at that. When we are talking about accomplishments, I am that same person, the Karta, who has accomplished so many things. But when I talk about my age, I am pointing to my body. When I talk about my health, I had great health before. I ruined it because of all these things. Now my health is not good. My health is not good, at least. So my body's health is not good. If you say, then that's a more objective statement. But my health is not good. So this is where the sorrow creeps in. Sorrow, look at how nicely it creeps in. So clearly these people know very well that same Dehi has been there all along. From birth till the last day, same Dehi only. And they say, this body, cells are constantly dying, and also constantly being born, I think. And so it's actually amazing if you think about it. The body that you look at the mirror every morning and you admire the body, the face, and you don't look at the face and say, oh, it's the same face I'm looking at. Last 60 years I've been doing this. It's very boring. I hate this person. Nobody says that. Nobody says that. So they love this face. But this body, apparently, the cells are constantly being regenerated. Every 6 years or 7 years, I think the entire cells have been, what do you call it, replaced. Some doctor can correct me on that. But that metamorphosis happens. That itself tells me, gives me a clue. This body is not the same body that was there 7 years ago. It's entirely different. Think about it that way. Correct? That I think is mind-boggling if you think about it. So therefore, I can't, the body that I'm identifying with now is different. Constantly changing as well. So, so there is the past, and I can remember my past. Some of my past I cannot remember. So until high school I can remember, maybe middle school I can remember, maybe I can go a little further back, but first 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, nobody can remember. But just because I don't remember, it doesn't mean I didn't exist, of course. Likewise, the past Janma also was there, and past Janmas were there. And of course, I don't remember any of my past Janmas, which I think is great, which is a big blessing. Because already with this mind and with this memory and with all these relationships, enough memories are there, many memories are haunting us. And now imagine if we were to remember all our past Janmas and all that. I don't know what kind of pandemic that would be. We don't know. So thank God we don't remember our past Janmas. Some people ask these questions. I want to remember my past Janma. Somebody asked me this question. Past Janmas, I don't know what I did. I wish I remembered all that. And so you get on a different track. And so no need to go there. Point is that Krishna is reminding us about this Atma, the Dehi, the Jiva. Here all these words are synonymous. The Atma, Dehi, Jiva, all synonymous at this point. And that Atma, just as it is undergoing all this, it is a witness to these transformations of the body. It is going to be a witness towards the movement of another body. Dehantara praptihi bhavati. Like that, Krishna is giving some insights. So, from the point of Atma, there is no death. There is no mrityu. From the point of Atma, standpoint of Atma, there is no self-decimation, not possible. Atma, no death is possible. Therefore, it cannot create sorrow for me. What about Anatma? Everything in the world is Anatma. My body also is Anatma. Can Anatma create sorrow? Well, knowing what Anatma is, knowing that Anatma always changes, like Krishna already described some changes for the body. What is going to change is definitely going to change. Nobody can stop it. Therefore, Krishna is saying, Dhiraha tatra na mukhyati. A wise person cannot grieve over this fact. The fact that the body changes, the fact that Atma will take on another body. A wise person cannot grieve. Why he won't grieve? Because neither Atma, Anatma, that is the nature of Anatma. Nothing can be done. They say don't cry over spilled milk. Even unspilled milk, you don't have to cry over. You don't have to feel elated over milk. Nothing. You just take things as they come. Be objective. Krishna says, Dhiraha tatra na mukhyati. Okay, so on these counts, there cannot be sorrow. So let's see here. So let's see. Let's see. We can translate this. Yatha dehinaha, just as for the jiva, for the dehi, asmin dehe, so the indweller of this body, kaumaram yauvanam jara, there is childhood, youth and old age. Tatha, so also there is gaining of another body. Dehantara praptihi, you can add bhavati, there is gaining of another body, full stop. Tatra means with respect to that fact, tasmin vishayam prati dhiraha na mukhyati, panditaha na mukhyati, a wise person does not grieve. Okay. So further, now Krishna is going to state another fact. Let's see what he says. So who would like to? Sukanya, unmuted you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so
you have the book in front of you.
Yes, I have.
All you have to do is repeat after me. Okay.
Yes, sure. Yes, sure, sir. Start. Yeah.
Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama anityaha tam stitikshasva bharata matra sparshastu kaunteya
शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदाः आगमापायिनो नित्याः तां स्थितिक्षस्व भारत.
Good, that's good. So there the catch is agama payino nityaha. So agama payinaha plus anityaha will become agama payino nityaha. Apparently, so the word actually is anityaha, but it's written here as nitya because the akara drops. It was something. Anyway. So Atma cannot cause sorrow. Anatma cannot cause sorrow. But still, in life, there are various situations which seem to cause sorrow. And that Krishna is trying to address here, is addressing here. So there are pleasant experiences, there are unpleasant experiences. This is our common experience. Every animal, every human being has this experience. Unpleasant and pleasant. Why is that? That is what Krishna is saying here. So, matraha. Matraha means indriyani. Sense organs, panchendriya, sense organs, the sense of sight, eyes, nose, tongue, etc., ears, etc. Matra sparshaha means the contact of the sense organs with their objects. contact of the sense organ with their objects. Eyes are looking at the tree. So there is the Shastra uses the word sparsha. The eyes have contacted the tree, as it were. So like that, the ears are contacting all the sources of sounds, and therefore absorbing those signals and then passing it on inside. This process is constantly going on. So matra sparsha, this contact of the sense organs with all their respective objects. We have to say respective objects, because eyes can only tell me what is the color, what is the form. It cannot tell me anything else. And if that form, if there is an airplane and it's moving, eyes can only tell me the shape of the airplane, tell me all the colors, all the details it can provide me. But it cannot tell me if the engines are on or not. It cannot tell me. If I can't see the engines, it cannot tell me. Only the ears can tell me if the engine is on. Because the object for the ear is different than the object of the eyesight. This we know very well. So, we experience many situations on a daily basis, and these situations can be either pleasant or can be unpleasant. So our experience is very clear. Last time somebody asked me in class, is it hot in Coimbatore? Is it hot in Coimbatore? So already there is anxiety about summer in India. So anxiety about summer. And summer is just starting. And then May time, they will say Agni Nakshatram and all that. And so Agni Nakshatram means it's just beating hot. And then just when it is really hot, they will turn off the power also. And so it's just amazing. It's a great life here. So the summer is there. The anxiety of summer is there. So in winter, there is anxiety about summer. In summer, we worry about when summer is going to get over. And summer is not getting over at all. And it's May, end of May, June, July. So when are rains going to come? People talk. Hey, so seems like it's going to rain and all that. So we are by asking this question, we are actually praying for rain. And so our days and nights are just spent anxiously waiting for something or wanting to get rid of something else. Because matra sparsha, this Shitoshna. Shita means cold, Ushna means heat. So these pairs of opposites. So this Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads, they always use these words. They are called dvandva. Dvandva. Dvandva means a pair. A pair is called dvandva. But here pairs of opposites. Pairs of opposites. Twins are also called dvandvas, but they are not opposites. But here we are referring to Shitoshna, cold, heat. Fame. So there's a period of fame. I'm famous. Everybody's praising me. Then what? Next moment, humiliation. Fame, humiliation. Love, hate. So I love you. After some time, I hate you for this. So love and hate. So these are all called pairs of opposites. So the question here is, Atma is the same thing. I understand that. It doesn't change. It was there before. It is there now. It will be there later. Wonderful. But Matra Sparshaha are there. But won't that create some sorrow? Some legitimate sorrow must be there from all this. Because life experiences are never going to be always pleasant. So pleasant and unpleasant seem to come and go. And so here Krishna is saying, they are all agama payina. Agama payina. Krishna says, yeah, this contract means Dvandva is going to be there. Heat will be there, cold will be there. You cannot stop it. This is the nature of the matraha. And there's sparshaha. Matra sparshaha means that is how it will be. So, matraha sparshaha kamteya shitoshna sukha dukkha bhavanti. So, sukha and dukkha, happiness and sorrow, you can say. And so this is a universal experience for all of us. Everybody, in a hot day, everybody goes towards the shade. If you're on the street, trying to look for a tree, if the trees are all not cut, then maybe there are some trees on the street. Look for it always. You want to park your vehicle, so you try to look for the shadow side of the street maybe, because common experience of this Ushna is there. And so like this rain, all these things are there which create either unpleasant or pleasant experiences. And I am going out and it starts to rain and I am not happy. But here, very interesting thing is somebody else is praying for rain. Some farmer is praying for rain and he's very happy. That tells me very well, rain cannot be a cause for sorrow. Rain cannot be a cause for happiness. This much must be clear to us. Because the same event, if it is a cause for sorrow, then it must create sorrow for everybody. It does not create. So like this, there is this experience. So therefore what? If this contact of the sense organs with this world causes this unpleasant and pleasant experiences, maybe we should avoid contact. Because contact causes problems. How about that? That's the idea, right? We should avoid contact. So this kind of thinking can be there. It's like this. If you have a head, you will have a headache. I've told this example before. If you have a head, you will have a headache. Now you don't want headache. Who wants headache? Nobody wants a headache. So what you should do? So take your head away. Cut off your head. And then there will never be a headache. Not only you won't have a headache, other people around you whom you've been bothering also will not have a headache. So it's a great win-win situation, my dear. So, but then here Krishna doesn't say you have to avoid contact. He says, understand them objectively. Understand that this is the nature of senses. This is the nature of human experience. And you cannot avoid it. And they're all temporary. Agama payinaha means they just come and go. Nothing will stay forever. Nothing can stay forever. That also he gives an insight. Neither a pleasant situation can be there forever, nor an unpleasant situation can be there forever. That much insight Krishna gives. And so there should be no reason to complain about something. If you have to do something about it, do something. If you have to put if it is hot and if you have to put some kind of a curtain on the outside, put some curtain. Buy it and do it. If you have to spray water, I used to do all this. And sometimes it gets so hot, especially on the top floor. And you have to pour water on the floor. Right? We do all these kinds of things, especially in India. Or if you have to buy an AC, just buy an AC. Do all these things. But complaining, there is really no room for complaint. Okay, this is what Krishna is saying. And so here there is a interaction between physical entities. Physical entities means entities which are of the same order of reality. Last time also I mentioned this. Order of reality. Same order of reality, if those things can affect each other. What are examples of things that are not of the same order of reality? Well, like, even though my shadow seems to follow me, my shadow cannot become wet by rain, and my shadow cannot be affected by anybody. And so they are different orders of reality, so to speak. Here, especially, Atma and body are two orders of reality. Why they are two orders of reality? Because Atma is independent of the body. Body is dependent on Atma. So anything that is dependent on something else is of the same order of reality of another thing which depends on something else for its existence. So here, same thing, two orders of reality. Body is part of this Jagat, and it is the same order of reality of as everything else in this world. Therefore, the body can be affected by anything else in this world. This is the implication here. But then Arjuna's problem is not physical. He's not worried about being hurt or being killed. His problem is shoka. Shoka. So sadness. And so Krishna is introducing this idea of this matra sparshaha. For the first time he uses the word indriyani. So later on, more and more, it will come. Indriyasya, indriyasyarthe, ragadvesho vyavasthito, later on he will say. So this idea of sense organs and their objects keeps reappearing in the Bhagavad Gita quite a bit. And that's why we also say, and there Krishna says, likes and dislikes. Every object in this world, I have either a like or a dislike. So later on that topic comes. But so in the context, this sense organs always come. And so here also, that sorrow, we have to understand that physical discomfort, physical pain, all those things are there. They are not going to go away. But Krishna says, pain is not the same as sorrow. Pain is not the same as sorrow. I can be in pain, but I need not be sad. Can you see the difference? I can be in pain, but I need not be sad. Pain can be cured, pain may not be curable. All these possibilities are there. But sadness is due to a way of thinking. Sadness is due to a way of thinking. If I say, no, why me? Why should I be in pain? Why I should get arthritis? Why I should get arthritis at such a young age? If I ask that question and I don't have an answer to it, then I'm going to be sad. Correct? Correct? Until then there is pain. Until then there is treatment. Until then there is management, pain management. No problem at all. But sadness, why me? Makes me sad. So we have to always keep this in mind. Pain and sorrow. When I am sad, when I am sorrowful, when I am depressed over something, I have to ask myself, why am I depressed? Why am I sorrowful? Why? This question we have to constantly ask. Only then we will come out of this conditioned thinking. In fact, this thinking comes from ignorance of Atma. Eventually, it comes from ignorance of Atma. Okay. So, ignorance of Atma. What is that? Atma is taken to be Anatma. Atma is taken to be Anatma. I am Atma. But I take myself to be limited because I look at my body and think that's all I am. I am that much only. And anything that happens to the body happens to me. And so I am now a victim of so many things. Even small bacteria are able to get me. I'd say I'm 150 pounds and all that I say, but what is the use? A bacteria that nobody can even see properly. The naked eye cannot see the bacteria can get me. So this is my thinking. But then when Atma is taken to be Anatma, then I am one among the many. Because Anatma means limited. And there are many Anatmas, and I am one of those Anatmas. And so if that is my thinking, there is really no possibility. There is no possibility of changing the situation because that is how it is. The only possibility is if I am different from what I think I am. That is where the possibility lies. So I have to see Atma as Atma, I have to see Anatma as Anatma. That is the knowledge that we are seeking here. And so here Krishna says, Tan Stitikshasva Bharata. Hey Bharata, Tan means what? Tan means in Tamil there is a word called Tan. And Tan, you know, in this sabji, in sambar and all, you know, they put vegetables, you know. So this okra is there, brinjal is there, all these things. Those pieces of vegetables, carrots, they're all called Tan. So Tan, that is Tamil. But here Tan means they. Tan Sukadukkan, Tan Shitoshnan. Okay. Tan Titikshasva. Titiksha is a very important word. And some time ago, we mentioned the word adhikari. Adhikari in a couple of classes ago, 3 classes ago. Adhikari means who is qualified. Adhikari. So children are playing kites. In India, they play kite. And these kites are there, and then the one kite got stuck in the tree. And all these boys are looking around. Why they are looking around? Kaun adhikari hai? Who is this guy who is capable of climbing this tree? Because for that, you need a separate mindset. And somebody must be saying, yes, and then without even thinking, the guy just goes up. That kind of a mindset is needed. So they look around, hey, you go. So adhikari. So he is the adhikari for that. Here also, adhikari for Vedanta, for Bhagavad Gita. Who is adhikari? One who has viveka, one who has vairagyam, and then one who has, let's say, emotional maturity, shamadamadi, and then one who has mumukshutvam. These are the 4 things. This is called sadhana chatushtai. Viveka means ability to see Atma from Anatma. Ability to see, even without full knowledge, my ability to appreciate is called Viveka. Then Vairagyam. Vairagyam means dispassion, objectivity. So not being carried away by anything. That is called Vairagyam. The third one is called Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. Roughly said as emotional maturity. Shama, Dama, Uparamaha, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. I will explain it another time. I'm just mentioning it now. And there, the word Titiksha is mentioned. Titiksha. And very interesting that Shastram should use the word Titiksha. Titiksha means endurance. Endurance. If I'm constantly complaining about this or that, power went off, it's hot, and too many nuisances, the mosquitoes. Constantly, you know, I'm constantly complaining. This constantly complaining person, the person cannot be taught Vedanta. I think you can appreciate it very much. You must be able to say things are like this. Complaining is not going to add value. Complaining doesn't solve any problem. That much is there. This is called titiksha. So I put up with whatever is there. I put up. Okay. So that is called titiksha. Here he uses the word tans titikshasva. Hey Bharata, you please endure. Please endure this. Why do you have to endure? Don't think Krishna is giving advice. This is not advice. You have to endure because you have no choice. Because these dvandvas are like this. Matra sparshaha, they are sukha dukkadaha. They sukkadha. See, sukha dukkada. The da here means what? Dukkham dadati iti dukkada. It gives dukkha. It gives sukha. Both it is capable of. What the contact is able to give both sukha and dukkha. Therefore, they are called sukha dukkadaha. Sanskrit. Beauty of Sanskrit. Look at that. Dukkham dadati iti dukkadaha. Isn't it? It's called a samasa. So, tans titikshasva. That is what Krishna is saying here. So we can conclude by seeing the translation of the shloka. So, matra sparshaha tu he kaunteya. Matraha sparshaha, the contacts of the sense organs with the sensory world. Sensory world means the world that can be captured by the senses. Shitoshna sukha dukkadaha, which give rise to cold and heat, pleasure and pain. Shitoshna sukha dukkadaha. Agama payina, which have the nature of coming and going. Coming and going means appearing and disappearing. Heat is there now, heat is not there later. Just like that. Morning, noon it is hot, evening time is cool down. So coming and going. So which have the nature of coming and going. Anityaha bhavanti. You can add the word bhavanti there. Anityaha bhavanti. Are not constant. The contacts of the sense organs with the sensory world, which give rise to cold and heat, comma, pleasure and pain, comma, which have the nature of coming and going, comma, are not constant. Full stop. Hey Bharata, tans titikshasva. Oh Bharata, oh Arjuna, endure them. Endure them. So we will just chant the next shloka and then conclude. Parameshwaran, I have unmuted you. Yeah, Parameshwaranji, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Okay. Yam hina
Yam hina
vyathayantyete
vyadayantyede
purusham
purusham
purusharshapha
purusharshaba
sama dukkha sukham
sama dukkha sukham
dhiram
tiram
somrutattvaya
tomradatvaya
kalpate
कल्पते
यं हि न व्यथयन्त्येते
यं हि न व्यजन्ते ते
पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभ
पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभ
समदुःखसुखं धीरम्
समदुःखसुखं धीरम्
सोऽमृतत्वाय कल्पते
सोऽमृतत्वाय कल्पते
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ